A journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step, Lao Tzu. My friends, if you've not started that journey to learning how to track stocks and ETFs, that is charting, technical analysis, you need to get on it, because the sooner you start, the sooner you will get good at it. Let's jump into these charts. Stocks and bonds are up. Bitcoin is up. Gold is our only downer for the day. Now let's look at this, since this is our weekly market compass. Let's look at where we've come from and where we are going potentially this next week. Don't forget, markets closed on Monday for Martin Luther King holiday here in the States. They will resume normal operations on Tuesday. We see the week ended with the S&P up 1% on Friday. You can see actually up on Wednesday, pulled back a little bit on Thursday, and popped up again on Friday. You can see it on the half-day chart, how they went in the morning and the afternoon on all three of those days. Now, this is the 195-minute chart. For those of you not familiar with it, I don't know how many people actually use it. We use it because it's truly a half-day chart. 195 minutes is the full quota. Two of those make up a real market day. Market opens what? 9:30, closes at 4. And this helps you actually see both sessions, morning and afternoon session, for real. Now, as we look at the 2-day chart, we have the first day of the latest 2-day candle, and look at it popping up and pushing through that weekly trend line. But it did not happen with the weekly candle itself. Look at all the energy, though. Look at all of the volume as the week ended up decently above that weekly trend line as far as volume goes. I'm sorry, not trend line, the average. And we popped up above it. We did not pop up above the trend line itself. That's the blue line that, again, is still tracking down. So what does this tell us? Well, you can see a lot more volatility this week than last week. When you look at the wicks on the top and bottom of the candles, a lot more volatility this week. Still tending down, though, but with all of this energy on both the 2-day and the half-day chart pushing things up, and extreme volatility on the weekly chart and lots of volume. In other words, the bears and the bulls were slugging it out, and the way the week ended, it ended with pretty much a draw. However, we can see things are trying to push up. Now, we've had things push up in the past. We go back to November, things popped up and then rolled back over. Not all the way down to where they were in November, not far away, and then have started moving back up again. So we'll see as we get into this new week what happens if things turn around and we start getting a building green candle with all this volume. And if there's a lot of volume next week, that very well will be telling us that this market is starting to get some legs in the upside. If it continues to slide sideways, maybe even goes negative on us, then of course we still have that strong downward pressure. So we'll be waiting, we'll be watching, we'll be seeing. Now look at the NASDAQ 100 up even more, 1.69%. That's a decently big day for the NASDAQ, popping up substantially. And of course, we look at the half-day chart. We see Wednesday up, Thursday pulling back, Friday popping up. And of course, first day of this latest 2-day candle, a lot of energy there. We're almost up to average volume on just the first day. Look at the weekly. Again, we've got a bigger spinning top. We don't have as much volume up as we do. I'm sorry, not volume. I'm stuck on volume here. We don't have as much energy up on price on that upper wick. We have a longer bottom wick. So we do pay attention to that. And you can see where we're just sticking right there on that downward trend line. So again, like with the S&P 500, with the NASDAQ, the tech stocks this next week, we'll be watching to see if this up move gains some energy, if it hits, say, up where things peaked before, around that high of 527.90 and then rocks back over, then of course we'll see that it doesn't have the energy to push on through. And of course you can see the weakness here. Check out the volume. See how the volume, as it was going down, it was pretty strong volume. And then when it hit the bottom, it turned around, but weak volume building up. And then of course the volume went up as things started to die, heated up, and it went down. So we will keep an eye. We see the volume increasing, unlike we saw when we had that last attempt to drive up. We'll see if indeed that volume continues to move up. And again, that's so important about what we do, is we track volume and we track price movement. Why? Because price movement alone doesn't give you the whole picture. It is the volume that adds in there the true investor sentiment about price change. You start buying in on a practice trade when you don't have volume backing up the move, or you have a capitulation taking place. You have high volume, but things have topped out. You're just asking to get hammered. The inverse is true too. When you think things are going to keep going down and the volume tells you, no, you've really hit a bottom here, it's capitulated, you need to be ready to jump in and go long. You learn this by doing it. Stick with us each and every day. Let's move on to 20-year U.S. government bonds. They were up a little bit, 0.17%. You can again see, just like stocks, bonds have been going up for the last few days. Actually stocks were up one day, down one day, up one day. Bonds been going up that time, and we can see where we've pushed through cleanly on the 2-day chart through that weekly trend line. The weekly chart itself, though, lots of volume this week, reaching a little bit lower low, even with this bounce going up. You know, we ended the week okay, so we're going to keep a close eye and see, are bonds bottoming? We do have a lot of volume here. Could be a bottom, particularly if the next week starts and we get a green spinning top telltale sign of things rotating around and going long. And we will be looking to buy into a nice trade on TLT. If that occurs, you might consider doing a practice trade yourself. Let's move to gold. Gold down 0.53%, up for the week. That's what I was looking up as I was looking here to the right off screen as to what it did today. You can see that we have just an undulating up, pulling back up, and then again, not as high has happened on the 2-day chart over and over and over again since this latest up move started going up. You can see on the half-day chart where things popped up on Tuesday, popped up on Tuesday, on Wednesday, Thursday, and then on Friday started pulling back. So we'll keep an eye. Gold still long on that. Nice week with a higher high and, of course, higher volume. So that's showing we've got we've got some steam there. We got some water in the tank with the energy of the volume pushing it up. So again, pull back on Friday, not a huge one. We will pay attention to that and see if we continue to stay long on gold as we move into the next week. Bitcoin up 4.30%. If that were a stock or pretty much anything else, you'd go, wow. With Bitcoin, yeah, it was an up day, up in the morning, a little further up in the afternoon. Nice up candle. Ended the week with, again, lots of volatility on the upside and the downside. A green spinning top after a spinning top last week and the week before. We do see it's a little more on the upside here. Decent volume this week. So again, we see things start building with a nice green candle this next week, other than just this sideways slide. Might be looking at going long Bitcoin. Have no idea what it's going to do. We will keep up with it. You can keep up with it over the weekend because Bitcoin, of course, is traded 24/7, 365. And you can follow Bitcoin over the weekend. You can follow it at any time on BTCUSD. And it will show you what's happening on the off season. That is, remember, HODL is what? It is an ETF that tracks Bitcoin. And again, the chart very similar to Bitcoin. But if you're going to be buying and selling in your practice trades, the ETF, that's what I track. But I do always look at Bitcoin. Those of you who are Patreon members, or well, anybody, I'm about to release it to the world. That is our Charting Cryptos, Commodities, and Currencies. Every week we track for you on that weekly chart both the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin and Ethereum chart. We also look at Bitwise, which is an ETF that tracks the top 10 cryptocurrencies weighted as per market share. That's where we are, my friends. Always love to hear from you. Patreon members, thank you so much for your support. If you don't have our book and you want it, and you do want it, I guarantee you want it, become a Patreon member. The first thing you'll get is my new book for free. You will get the PDF, and you can download it right to Google Books or Kindle. And besides that, you will also get our 3-part series, Options Made Simple, The Charting Wealth Way. God bless my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.